Alright guys, sorry I had to add one more video. The screencast-o-matic caps out at 15 minutes, but I just had a couple more things I wanted to talk about. Um, when we're looking at rehab in the shoulder, we really want to focus on neuromuscular control and proprioception, because that arm gets overhead very often. Um, it's important to have that stabilization and control to prevent injury when you're going overhead. And one thing that really helps, we saw it in the last slide, or actually, sorry, it was 2 slides ago. But this body blade, where they shake a stick back and forth. It's called the body blade, but it's really good for proprioception control, neuromuscular control. You can do this as the clinician as well. You can add pressure to the patient's arm in different directions as they go through a range of motion or while they're in an isolated range of motion. And this helps to develop that neuromuscular control. When we do that, when we add pressure in different directions, that's actually considered a PNF technique, a proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation technique, but it's really great for that neuromuscular control. Okay, so the other thing as you progress a shoulder injury is to think, what is their sport or what is their activity that they are doing? Do they require closed kinetic chain exercises or open kinetic chain exercises, right? So something like your gymnasts, wrestlers, weightlifters, stuff like that, we're really going to want to focus on closed kinetic chain, push-ups, barbell lifts, um, plank, different exercises where we're loading the shoulder and the arm is in a stabilized position. Okay, if they are someone that is an overhead thrower, like a javelin thrower, water polo player, baseball player, all of the above, then we really want to focus on their open kinetic chain exercises. For example, the throwing program that I put in the first upper extremity module, that throwing program would be great, or other open kinetic chain exercises. Okay. As we get back to our plyometric exercises, there's a ton of plyometric stuff we can do for overhead exercises. Med balls or slam balls are really great for this. So here in picture A, this woman's working on the chest and working on plyometric pec exercises. So the ball comes down, she catches it, it comes close to her chest, she presses out and throws the ball into the air. This one is an overhead med ball throw. I would like to point out that I don't really like her form in this. She should maintain a nice neutral spine and really tighten that core. So this big arch in her back is actually not great. And I also don't know what's up with this follow through. She's just flicking the wrists. But if I'm doing an overhead med ball throw, I want to tighten that core down, keep that spine neutral, and throw with your entire arm and let your arms really follow all the way through. That will really engage that whole shoulder musculature. Really great overhead plyometric exercise. So all of your overhead throwing athletes should be doing something like this. They'll probably be doing this as well, but this one's going to be really key for them. Okay, another key one for those overhead throwing athletes is this. In this example, it's nice that they have this trampoline. You don't always have that. Maybe a clinician could throw it back to them. But he's going to throw. It's going to bounce off the trampoline and come back to him. And he's going to have to catch it with one hand and stabilize it. Eccentrically load, slow the ball down, really stabilizing that shoulder muscle. Then he's going to throw it back into the trampoline. It comes back. He has to stabilize, slow it down, eccentrically control it. Once it comes to a pause, then he throws it back in, and so on. And then picture D right here I like because, like I just talked about, closed versus open kinetic chain. All of these, A, B, and C, are all going to be open kinetic chain. But what if your athlete is recovering from a shoulder injury and they are a gymnast, or they do some other sort of closed kinetic chain athletics or activity or something? This could be a really good one for them. Okay, closed kinetic chain. In this example, this guy is pushing her. She's catching herself, slowing herself down on the wall, and then she's going to push up back out, and then he's going to push her back into the wall. Okay, obviously to make this easier, you could do it without having a clinician standing there and pushing you. She could just push out away from the wall, fall back into the wall, catch herself, push back out. Obviously, this just makes it more difficult with having someone push. But you do want to be careful. Obviously, you don't want to push her too hard and have her slam her face into the wall. Okay, but that's a great closed kinetic chain plyometric exercise. Okay, here's some more neuromuscular control, facilitation, proprioception. Okay, in this example, she's on an unstable surface, and she's putting weight through the affected arm, and with the other arm she's going to press around on this board and basically move it in different directions, and then she has to stabilize with the other arm. Okay, similar idea here on the slide board. This is probably the affected arm. She's putting a little bit of weight through the left, and then she's sliding the right out and sliding it back in, forcing those muscles to stabilize as she goes through that range of motion. Okay, and then this is taking it up another step, another level, making it more difficult. Okay, she's putting weight on this Bosu ball. Sorry, not Bosu ball, Swiss ball. And she's probably going to roll it around in circles and try to stabilize it. She might even roll out and back in. That would add a little bit of a core component. But basically she's on an unstable surface and she's having to stabilize with that shoulder joint. Okay, and then last one. This is more of a core exercise. I like doing these. These are called bird dogs, but you go opposite arm, opposite leg, pressing that heel through into the wall, and then with the opposite arm you're lifting it straight up overhead. It's a great core exercise. It also engages the opposite shoulder because the opposite shoulder is stabilizing. It's also good for the posterior shoulder on this arm because you have to activate to bring that arm up. So just a good overall exercise. Very functional. Okay, and speaking of functional, as we go through our functional progression, again, we want to make sure that we incorporate sport-specific skills. Always make sure that you're using a sport-specific skill. Okay, when you guys are doing your rehab project, I'm going to look for the fact that you guys incorporate some sort of sport-specific skill. Okay, and then as you strengthen, you can involve PNF patterns. Okay, some of the PNF patterns resemble throwing, so if they're a throwing athlete, then you want to make sure you're coming from that overhead abducted position into an adducted position. So as the arm comes down, it comes across the body towards the midline. Okay, gradual progressive increase for angular velocities. If you look at that throwing program, I think it was on the elbow forearm module that I posted it, but it's good for all upper extremity rehab plans, and it'll show you exactly what this means. So basically the distance that someone's throwing is slowly lengthened, and what that allows is for a gradual increase in angular velocity as they're throwing. Okay, obviously there's different ways to do that. You know, when we looked back at this slide, you can slowly increase the angular velocity here by having him move farther back, or having them throw farther, or having them throw a heavier ball. But a throwing program is just one example. Okay, and then when we return them to activity, we again want to have some sort of pre-established data criteria that clears them for play. Okay, so we don't want to just say, oh, well, it seems like they can throw the ball far, or it seems like they can do enough push-ups. Okay, we want to have some sort of criteria where we say they need to be able to throw the ball this far, this many times before they can return. They need to be able to do this many push-ups. Okay, and then they're not able to return until they actually achieve that goal and are able to maintain it. Okay. And obviously our return to activity has to be based on the healing process. So they need to have had the chance to go through those phases, that inflammatory phase, that fibroblastic repair phase, that maturation remodeling phase. And then we want to have, when we measure, we want to have some sort of objective measure, something that we can put a number on. We don't want to just say it looks like they throw hard enough, or they throw far enough, or they lift enough. We want to have a number that we can put on it to say they did this number of push-ups, or they lifted this number of weight. And that way we have an actual evidence-based data that says, okay, this is why they're cleared to play.